Yo, 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 what's good? Salute to all my good people, grand risings to everybody. Let me do a quick mic check, 1 2 1 2, mic check 1 2 1 2. Can y'all hear me fine? Make sure y'all can hear me fine before I continue on. Let's see if I need to adjust anything. If so, I'll go ahead and get this show started. Salute to everybody, grand risings to everybody. Sound is good. Salute my boy Iceberg Thought. Steady grinding, salute Lovelace, Jay Williams, Big Red Jew Martin, salute to all the early risers. Early bird gets the worm all the time. All the time. So we're gonna get right into it, man. It's just a lot of news that kind of came out overnight. And I keep my ears to the street. I had got me a decent little nap, so I was on a different kind of time last night. So I did make a video and I was about to upload it, and I figured that I would get my stuff ready for this live. And I started uploading that video about 4 o'clock in the morning, and I never got around to actually uploading it. So I'm gonna play the video first. Y'all will see it here first, and then I'll upload it for the rest of the world. But to my people who are always on point, always ride with ears to the street, y'all will get the first dose of this video, and then I'll continue on with the rest of my stuff. So let's go from there first. Alarm going off now. Alright, let me pull that video up first. So salute to all the early risers. I mean, yeah, man, this situation gets crazy and crazier about a day. And it's just gonna expound over a little bit more. Y'all know when I hear details, I bring y'all details. This is fairly new, so I'm not sure if y'all have these details about what's going on. But there's also other people coming and stepping up and giving their account for their mistreatment.
Big cap niggas ain't living like that. Do the most, get too close, you a ghost. Dope is the dope, you get more than a dose. Give all that I got till it ain't nothing left. I don't need no help, I could do it myself. I'm really a shell, could get right out of left. Run up a check till I run out of breath. Run them out, make them deal with their rounds. Big cap niggas ain't living like that. Do the most, get too close, you a ghost. Dope is the dope, you get more than a dose. Give all that I got till it ain't nothing left. I don't need no help, I could do it myself.
Yo, what's good, everybody? Wick Made 912 back in your area, back with another one.
Live.
Because we know this wasn't the first time that these people have used excessive force when it comes dealing with the citizens, whether you white, black, purple, or green. So when it comes to this guy, Demetrius Haley, he's had, number of run-ins where he's been excessive, including the other story that y'all probably caught on one of my other lives. If you have never caught one of my lives, make sure you drop in on one of my lives. I'm going to go more into detail about this situation.
Fired Memphis cops in the Nichols case faced previous accusations of excessive force while working as a guard for Shelby County's Division of Corrections. In a federal complaint filed in 2016, Demetrius Haley is accused of punching an inmate in the face, slamming his face into a sink, and throwing him to the floor. The complaint goes on to say the inmate woke up the corrections medical unit. However, the suit was dismissed by a federal judge a couple of years later, 2 years, in fact, before Haley got his badge with the Memphis PD.
His run-ins with excessive force. That was before he even got on the Memphis police. Like I say, y'all show on my live, I'll show a couple of videos. But this is a video in particular that I want to go over. It's a young lady, this young lady that's on the thumbnail. She tells a story about how she was harassed by, I don't know if it was the Scorpion unit, but it definitely was this officer who used the excessive force on it. There was also a female cop that was in assistance of him, and she has now resigned. And this is the way that these cops are being able to get away without accountability. They'll just resign, they'll go to another city, and then next thing you know, they're doing the same thing on another police force. It's not on their record. This is how they're getting away with murder, literally. This is how This is how the chief of police that's over this Memphis unit, this is how she's in the place that she's in right now. She was part of the Red Dog unit that was in Atlanta that killed a 92-year-old woman in a breach. Breonna Taylor type style. And then she took her services on and she covered up a child pornographic ring that a officer of hers had. She covered for it. And then she just went on to the next city. After she resigned, after everything got brushed under the rug. And then you go to another city, you start up another gang unit, they kill another innocent man, and then you resign again.
That was my fault, y'all. I forgot to bring myself back up on the live stream. That's probably why my mic was out. But I was trying to mention that it was funny that they were mentioning that how people can switch from city to city, and I was mentioning that already. And as I was getting ready for this live, I seen another news article, and they were talking about exactly that. So I'm gonna end up playing that right after we get finished with this story. But this lady here is gonna explain how she was the victim, and the lady that encountered with her, along with Officer Demetrius Haley, after she filed the complaint on them, and it went through the internal investigation. The lady resigned, and she didn't get her justice after they done violated her constitutional rights. So that's where this is gonna swing back into.
And go off to the next city. These cops are just shuffling around. But I don't want to get on too much of a ramble about that. Let me let y'all see this, and I'll come back and commentate at the end of it.
Woman is telling us tonight she tried to warn the Memphis Police Department about an officer now charged.
Fair use, fair use.
WRT investigative Jessica Gertler has her story and uncovered a loophole that may have kept the case from being sent to the district attorney's office for review.
The evening of February 21st, 2021, Memphis police got a call. There was a shooting at the Walgreens on Knight Arnold. Eva Towns and her aunt were there.
Police returned over box and another box.
She said they were about to leave when a male officer approached her, asking if she heard gunfire.
I told him no, and he told us we could go ahead and leave.
As she put the car into reverse, a female officer stopped her. Her aunt hit record on her cell phone.
Oh my God, y'all, we were getting a red box. We were getting a red box, y'all.
Where's your ID?
Why you need my? What I do? She wouldn't tell me what I did. She was just telling me to get out. Why would I? What are you doing? She proceeded to stick her hand in my car, unlock my door, and kind of arm wrestle with me.
Two male officers each grabbed her arms, then put her into handcuffs.
I'm crying out, like dislocated my shoulder. He just telling me, stop resisting. I'm like, I'm not resisting. I'm trying to tell, because he looked at the video, my hands behind.
Now, like here, you have several officers, and they haven't told this woman what she has done. Only thing she did is say, "Hey, I'm getting a red box. Somebody in my business." And this is how people get abused. This is how people get shot on accident. This is how, this is not respect of the people in the community. This is a person abusing their power. And see, when stuff like this go unchecked, this is how we have the problems that we have in our community.
Officers then approached her aunt, and the video ends. Townsend's officers put her into.
And see, they want to go at her aunt for recording it. And you see, they went at her aunt and probably took that phone. Now her aunt is going to jail also.
The squad car. She says she demanded they take her to the emergency room for her shoulder pain. Her family followed the squad car, so the officer pulled over and got out.
And drew her gun at my brother and my aunt.
Now the officer stopped the family from following them to the hospital. The officer stopped the family from following the woman to the hospital after they've been rough with her, and she feel like they dislocated her arm and she's demanding medical attention. And guess who that officer was that stopped that car and pulled a gun out on her brother and her aunt for trying to show concern to their loved one?
They took her aunt into custody while they took her to the hospital and then to jail. She said she never faced any charges. She said she did give a statement to MPD's internal affairs, but never knew what came of the case until last month. She saw the mugshots of the now former Memphis police officers charged in Tyree Nichols' death. One of them, Demetrius Haley, the officer who put her into handcuffs that night.
Wow. So she put in a complaint months ago about the officer that put her in the cuffs, about them pulling over and pulling the gun on her loved ones, the people who weren't under arrest, and you never even charged her with anything. You pretty much just made this inconvenient day over what? Oh, I'm gonna show y'all what it was about.
Were you surprised?
I wasn't surprised because how they did me at Walgreens.
Townsend's incident was in Haley's disciplinary file WREG investigators uncovered. He was written up in Townsend's case, not for using force, but for not filling out the proper paperwork to alert his supervisors that force was used.
So of course you would not be written up for using force if you don't even put in the paperwork that you use force. Now, you knew exactly what you did when you arrested her. If you did the right thing, why wouldn't you put that in the paperwork? Why would you leave that out? But I guess when you know you're doing wrong, you would leave that out. But the other officers that were there, they didn't do anything. They didn't say, hey, that's not what happened. They didn't report it either. So they're just as guilty. I don't want to hear all that, oh, well, there's some good cops back. Nah, them good cops, y'all see them bad cops. See something, say something. That's what you tell us.
Haley told Internal Affairs he did not know why they were handcuffing Towns, and the officer who helped him was not familiar with why she was pulled over in the first place.
Now, here you got a woman cop coming here to deal with this woman, and here y'all treating her like a criminal, and you don't even know why you coming here to even mess with the woman. That's just like those officers that pulled up on Tyree. They don't know why they beat him. Like, oh, y'all beating up on somebody? Hey, let me join in. This is ridiculous. And here it is, you got a male trying to help another female cop arrest a woman that she don't even know why she arrested her. Going to jail and all this stuff, they just paying money to get out of jail and all this stuff, and for what? No charges filed. Why? Because you know you did something wrong. You don't even put in your police report that you use excessive force. So when somebody complain about excessive force, now they got to go down this rabbit hole. And y'all know y'all had this line officer on your force. He already was using excessive force before he even got there.
The lieutenant did say Haley routinely makes good decisions, and he was sure this was a limited event.
How is that when he had excessive force before he even got there? There's more stories that are gonna come out.
The female officer, Alexis Brown, said while investigating the shooting call, she saw Towns laughing in her car, so she initiated the traffic stop.
So you initiate a traffic stop because you see a black woman laughing in her car, and you on a serious call. We understand that, but how is this woman supposed to know what your call is all about? Because you see a woman laughing in the car. This is police work, y'all. This is how people are getting hurt, killed, and all that. These are the people they have come out. And what will happen when she does all that stuff? Should she be charged with a false arrest? Yes, she should. That way she don't go somewhere else and do these false arrests and arrest the people because they laughing in their car. But nah, let's see what happens to her.
And that Towns became verbally and passively resistant.
Of course she gonna become verbally and passively resistant when you're trying to arrest me for not doing anything. We as citizens have the right to not be unlawfully arrested. And I think the police tend to forget that. Then they'll call it verbally and passively resistant. Stop resisting. Stop trying to false imprison me.
She put Towns into her squad car for investigative detention.
Investigative detention. That sounds like something. That sounds like ISS in middle school. Investigative detention. What are you investigating? You're investigating a shooting. Somebody just started shooting, and here you is bothering a lady that's trying to get her a red box and trying to live her best life. Just because she over there laughing, having a good time in her own world, trying to go Netflix and chill, instead of you going after the person that's shooting, you just going after this woman sitting here, the person that's going to jail, not the person that's shooting. That's why killings going on, because you over here bothering with people at the red box instead of chasing the criminals.
Also claiming she found marijuana in the car but disposed of it. Internal Affairs says,
yeah, you disposed of it, all right. So you found it necessary to take people to jail for laughing, but you ain't want to add on the marijuana that you supposedly found.
Brown violated a number of policies, including excessive force. She resigned before her disciplinary hearing.
Exactly. Before her disciplinary hearing, she resigned. She was not charged with assault. She was not charged with false imprisonment. She wasn't charged with making a false police report. No real consequences. Now she can resign and then go to Georgia, go to Florida, and say, hey, we had a little discrepancy. You know, I resigned 5 years ago. That's behind me. I went to counseling. Bam, she back out there making stupid decisions like this. But does that give that person back their life? That person had to bond out of jail. That person had their whole life derailed in a moment of the negligence of just the chain of command. This man ain't just started doing this. Y'all could have saved a life. This man initiated that stop on Tyree Nichols because of his own personal grudges, his own ego, his own violent nature. Y'all could have saved a life.
For them to give her time to quit on her own, like, it wasn't fair at all.
Town says what's also not fair, her case was never turned over to the Shelby County District Attorney's Office for review to see if any of the officers did anything criminally wrong. See,
Exactly. Now they don't want to even know if you did anything wrong. They don't even want to know if you did anything wrong. Never got turned over. She can get no justice. So it's bigger than just the cops. It's the shield of the blue.
And I'm about to play it back
No
to you guys
accountability.
without my commentary. So y'all can hear it real time.
all cases of excessive force that result in disciplinary action would be sent to the DA's office for review. Again, the officer quit before she was disciplined for violating the excessive force policy.
Now, it's good that they did put that into place because they probably realized that too. They should send it to the DA office before they let somebody just quit and run off. Because, see, that's been the policy, and that's what a lot of the officers have been noticing. So that's what they'll do. They'll just run off and resign instead of facing the real music.
We asked MPD if that's why the case was never sent to the DA. We have yet to hear back.
It's not right. It should be another system, a better system.
To this day, Towns doesn't know why she was forced out of her car and into handcuffs.
And we still don't know what we did. We still don't know what we did.
Just like Tyree Nichols. He didn't know what he did. He kept asking, what did I do? What did I do? You never told the man what he did. But then say he resisted and give you a reason to violate all his civil rights. The same way you did this lady here. You pull her over. And just because she realized, just because she's trying to tell you she didn't do anything, you violate her rights even more by saying she's resisting to not doing anything. You pulled this woman out the car because you said she was laughing. Abuse this woman, humiliate her family, pull out a gun, put her brother and her aunt at risk of losing their life, abusing your power. And y'all knew of all this. Y'all knew of all this. Yeah, he might have not told y'all about that, his excessive force, but I guess nobody told y'all about him pulling the gun on her brother and her aunt. Y'all knew about that. Y'all could have saved Tyree Nichols' life if y'all could have reacted to any of these things that keep coming forth about this officer.
Portland, WRG, News Channel 30. Still.
So a lot of this stuff could have been prevented.
Okay, y'all, so that was a video I was gonna upload. I'm glad I watched it along with y'all because now I noticed an error that I was about to do. So now I can go back and edit that and turn up the audio on the actual video. So good thing I got to watch that with y'all. So I'm gonna play back the regular news article of that so y'all can hear it loud enough so y'all can get what y'all get out of it without my commentary. You know, of course I give my opinion, but I don't want to tell you what to think. I'm just giving you my opinion about it. And of course you're free to think whatever it is you think about it. But just in case you haven't seen the article, just in case you haven't had a chance to come across something that, you know, you just want to see what they're going to do, because, you know, this is an example of how we are being treated, not just as Black people, but as people, period, in a country that has a police state.
Of Tyree Nichols.
WRAG investigator Jessica Gertler has her story and uncovers a loophole that may have kept the case from being sent to the district attorney's office for review.
The evening of February 21st, 2021, Memphis police got a call. There was a shooting at the Walgreens on Knight Arnold. Khadijah Towns and her aunt were there.
We was returning a red box and we was getting another red box.
She says they were about to leave when a male officer approached her, asking if she heard gunfire.
And I told him no. And he told us we could go ahead and leave.
She says as she put the car into reverse, a female officer stopped her. Her aunt hit.
Now, for fair purposes, I got to stop and commentate over this. But as y'all can see, they were called out there about a shooting or a robbery or whatever that was they just said or whatever. And a female, why would the hell would you send a female officer out there and you responding to a damn shooter by herself? It's almost like they weren't even looking to find what the hell was really going on. Hold on 1 second. Let me slide that back just a little bit.
Tell us we can go ahead and leave.
She says as she put the car into reverse, a female officer stopped her. Her aunt hit record on her cell phone. Car into reverse, a female officer stopped her. Her aunt hit record.
Go ahead and leave.
She says as she put the car into reverse.
He told us we can go ahead and
gunfire.
And I told him no. And he told us we can go ahead and leave.
She says to leave when a male officer approached her, asking if she heard gunfire.
And I told him no. And he told us we can go ahead and leave.
She says
so a male officer asked her, did she hear any gunfire? She told him no. He said, go ahead and leave. And you proceed to go and stop this lady anyway. Just because you're a female cop, and I guess you've been wanting in some of that action that all these male cops been getting in. I'm assuming that's what that's about. I'm assuming that's what that's all about. Because there wasn't no reason for you to tell this woman not to leave.
She put the car into reverse. A female officer stopped her. Her aunt hit record on her cell phone.
Oh my God, y'all. We were getting a red box.
We were getting a red box, y'all. Where's your ID?
Why you need my... What I do? She wouldn't.
So here she is pressing this woman about, where's your ID? Where's your ID? Why? I don't have to give you my ID. The officer just said I can go. How you going to overrule what this man just said? As a citizen, like I said, you do not have to comply with an unlawful arrest or unlawfully asking me for my ID. You don't get to make up the rules on the spot.
And tell me what I did. She was just telling me to get out. Why would I? What are you doing? She proceeded to stick her hand in my car, unlock my door, and kind of arm wrestle with me.
Two male officers each grabbed her arms, then put her into handcuffs.
I'm crying now, I'm like, you dislocated my shoulder. He just telling me, stop resisting. I'm like, I'm not resisting. I'm trying to tell, because if you look at the video, my hand's behind my back.
Officers then approached her aunt, and the video ends. Town says officers put her into the squad car. She says she demanded they take her to the emergency room for her shoulder pain. Her family followed the squad car, so the officer pulled over and got out.
And drew her gun at my brother and my aunt.
Town says they took her aunt into custody.
Now, drawing a gun at her brother and her aunt, that's what got me. Because that could have been my sister. And here I am just making sure that these police officers have already arrested her for nothing. And they're trying to, associate her with some kind of shooting that's going on. When she's just at the red box, yeah, I want to follow her. But you're trying to stop us from following our loved ones, like you might do something, harmful to them. That's problematic. And then when these folks report this type of stuff, the bigger problem is it falls on deaf ears. And then when somebody comes up dead, like I keep saying, you gotta die for these folks just to do something about what's going on. Somebody gotta die. And that's sad. This lady deserves justice.
Custody while they took her to the hospital and then to jail. She says she never faced any charges. She said she did give a statement to MPD's internal affairs, but never knew what came of the case until last month.
She saw the mugshots of the now former Memphis.
Now, like they say, she found this a whole month ago. It took for this lady to see this mugshot of these folks up here. And I'm like, okay, now I have an opportunity to tell my story. Because before, it falls on deaf ears. And it's like saying somebody that violated you. She seen that dude, she seen that weapon out of the lineup.
This police officers charged in Tyree Nichols' death. One of them, Demetrius Haley, the officer who put her into handcuffs that night. Were you surprised?
I wasn't surprised because how they did me at Walgreens.
Towns' incident was in Haley's disciplinary file WREG investigators uncovered. He was written up in Towns' case, not for using force, but for not filling out the proper paperwork to alert his supervisor.
So he was written up, not for using force, but for not for filling out the paperwork right. So they knew he used force, but didn't fill out the paperwork right. But they still didn't discipline him for using force.
That force was used. Haley told Internal Affairs he did not know why they were handcuffing Towns, and the officer who helped him was not familiar with why she was pulled over in the first place. A lieutenant did say Haley routinely makes good decisions, and he was sure this was a limited event. The female officer...
See, they immediately tried to cover. They immediately tried to cover for him. Talking about this isn't This is just trying to act like this is an isolated event. Nah, this ain't no isolated event. You forgot about the man that slammed the man unconscious.
Alexis Brown said while investigating the shooting call, she saw Towns laughing in her car, so she initiated the traffic stop, and that Towns became verbally and passively resistant. She put Towns into her squad car for investigative detention, also claiming she found marijuana in the car but disposed of it. Internal Affairs says Brown violated a number of policies, including excessive force. She resigned before her disciplinary hearing.
And for them to give her time to quit on her own, like, that wasn't fair at all.
Towns says what's also not fair, her case was never turned over to the Shelby County District Attorney's Office for review to see if any of the officers did anything criminally wrong. See, a month after her incident, the then DA and the former police director created a new policy. All cases of excessive force that result in disciplinary action would be sent to the DA's office for review. Again, the officer quit before she was disciplined for violating the excessive force policy. We asked MPD if that's why the case was never sent to the DA. We have yet to hear back.
It's not right. It should be another system, a better system.
To this day, Towns doesn't know why she was forced out of her car and into handcuffs.
And we still don't know what we did. We still don't know what we did.
Jessica Gertler, WREG, News Channel 3.
Still looking for answers. And Towns' attorney, Carlos Moore, is also looking into the matter. And the new DA, Steve Mulroy, said they may be open, that is, to looking at the case. However, a final decision has not been made since Mulroy was just made aware of this case. We will let you know when we find out more.
Now y'all see how they be trying to be quick to try to act like they just was aware of this case. Oh, we just got aware of this case. We need more time. Nah, you didn't know about this. You didn't know about this. Cut the cap. Now they didn't know about this case. I don't know why my avatar ain't pulling up. But let me show y'all what else this man's already been accused of. Real 30-second clip. And we already kind of went over this, but I just want to see some minutes first.
Recently fired Memphis cops in the Nichols case faced previous accusations of excessive force while working as a guard for Shelby County's Division of Corrections. In a federal complaint filed in 2016, Demetrius Haley is accused of punching an inmate in the face, slamming his face into a sink, and throwing him to the floor. The complaint goes on to say the inmate woke up the corrections medical unit. However, the suit was dismissed by a federal judge a couple of years later, 2 years in fact before Haley got his badge with the Memphis PD.
So when they say, yeah, he usually don't do this type of activity. He usually don't do this type of activity. Oh yeah, he don't. He don't. Come on, he usually don't do that type of activity. Let's see something.
PD log, and police haven't told us what units they worked with during their time on the force. But some who know the officers say at least one confirmed he, and we're hearing several, were with the newly created Scorpion Squad that MPD started in 2021 as a solution to fight crime.
Their job is to identify the target area, flood that area with officers, and suppress crime in that area, mostly by visibility. Just being present and having the officers there, it sees an impact on it.
And this audio from Broadcastify of police radio traffic the night of Tyree Nichols' beating specifically mentions calling more Scorpion units to the scene.
You know, the Scorpion car pull over to East Ranger Road, have one running on foot.
Cornell McKinney says the same.
So he ain't never called them before. But it seemed like as soon as they pulled him over, it was already 3-4 cars already around him. Y'all was already there. It's mighty funny that it was already 4 cars on the scene the moment that y'all pulled this guy over. Now, like these people are saying, there are other accounts of, this type of activity before, like this young man here. And just like the young lady that we just listened to, he gave his account, he called internal investigation, he tried to report this kind of activity. Again, they could have saved this man's life. They could have saved a life, because if this stuff keeps going unchecked, what ends up happening? Somebody ends up dying. And it's not like it's the first time they did it, it's just that it went unchecked so long that they got too comfortable.
Scorpion unit stopped him January 3rd, 4 days before Nichols was pulled over.
I actually read it on the back of their vest. It said MPD Scorpion unit.
It was at this Marathon gas station at Ridgeway in Knight Arnold as he was catching a ride with a friend.
All I heard is freeze, get out the car. Put your MF hands up before I blow your heads off. Both of you, get out the car. So put your hands up. So I put my hands up.
Now, it ain't no reason to tell this man that you're going to blow his head off. What's the purpose of that? What's the purpose of that? What did this man do to warrant you making him get out his car, put his hands up, freeze, you're going to blow his head off? Did you see this man commit a crime? Or did you just want to impose your power?
And one of the officers proceeded to come to the car, and he physically pulled me out by my shoulder with a gun no more than a foot away from my head.
Exactly how we saw Tyree was pulled out of that car. Exactly how we saw him approach. For no reason at all. You can ask what you did wrong, and they threaten your life. They have absolutely no reason. But like the white people try to act like they don't know nothing about this. Oh, they're just supposed to be there. They're supposed to be some president. Oh yeah, okay. We're about to see. Wait till the next video.
He says the officers in unmarked cars would never say why they had been stopped. He took this picture of the stop. They eventually asked who the drugs belonged to.
I said, man, I just went across the street to get a pizza, and I'm on my way back to the house. He's like, well, who finna raffle this pound? I said, well, can we call my lawyer? And the officers, he yelled out, well, this ain't court, this ain't a time for lawyer. I was like, man, I just came to get a pizza. So he was like, man, we just playing, it ain't a pound in a car. And he let me walk off.
He showed us his call log when he says he plays.
So you acting like this man still did something wrong, but then you just let him walk off. Obviously, he didn't do nothing wrong. So this man got the receipt of him calling the internal investigation. So when you know you ain't did nothing wrong, of course you want to report it. Just like when those officers did that to me and they almost killed me, I wanted to report it because I didn't want that to happen to somebody else. Plus, I felt violated on a whole nother level. But they'll act like you're interfering with their investigation and all that stuff. I'm like, well, you should have been doing a better investigation. So you just messing with innocent people, and then they could be perceived as resisting, and then it give you a right to beat them to death or shoot them. I apologize, y'all. I apologize. You got to put gas in the car. Had to handle that a little bit. But yeah. But when somebody call and try to make these reports, they ignore it. And then when you get a death that happened with Tyree Nichols, then all of a sudden everybody's concerned. Then all of a sudden all these heads got to roll. Oh, we didn't know. We had no idea. How you ain't had no idea when we done counted 3, 4, 5 people that done called y'all and reported this kind of activity. And y'all probably was giving out rewards about it.
2 phone calls to MPD's internal affairs to complain about the officer's forcefulness, but he says he still hasn't heard back. Then he saw the picture of the 5 officers fired in the Tyree Nichols case.
I was like, that's them. I said, that's crazy, that's them. I said, now they done really hurt somebody. This could have been prevented if the internal affairs took action like I was asking them to do.
We asked Memphis police about the stop involving Cornell McKinney and are also waiting to hear back. Those who know some of the officers are waiting to see how all of this plays out. Former Shelby County Sheriff's Captain Benny Cobb says he has spoken with one of the fired officers, who he coached years ago.
It's been a roller coaster ride. Emotionally for him, he's been in my office. I prayed with him a couple of times.
Man, nobody don't want to hear all that. I don't want to hear all that. And we're going to try to find somebody to try to shed some good light on him. Nah, we just seen what that man just did. And prayer didn't do nothing for him. Who y'all praying to?
Share some information with him. And now, as a result of termination, there are more questions that's being asked. I know the human person. Now, if he's guilty of what he's accused of and what he's been terminated for, of course justice has to be served.
April Thompson, WREG News Channel 3.
And as April mentioned, we are working to get more information from MPD about the stop involving Cornell McKinney and also the fired officer's involvement with the Scorpion unit.
They still trying to get more information, but I got my ears to the street. So I'm getting more information also. And my information is telling me that officer, that rumor that the officer sent out pictures to multiple people, that rumor turned out to be true, y'all. Now, we still don't know if the girlfriend was the whole motivation behind it. But he sent that picture to 6 people. Yes, sir. Now, why would you do that? Why would you do that? There's no good explanation. But we got one more person that's going to explain their incident with the same officer or whatever before we get on to the next part of this to kind of push on what I was saying about these officers never get no punishment as far as charges and things that will stop them from resigning, where they can just go on to another force. So listen to this 19-year-old tell his account. Tell you.
All eyes are on the Memphis Police Department Scorpion unit after the death of Tyree Nichols. Now, more people who say they were also the victims of overly aggressive officers assigned to that unit are coming forward.
Tonight, WREG's April Thompson spoke with a 19-year-old who says he was stopped while just walking down the street.
Now, I ain't saying this 19-year-old is innocent, but at the same time, the man just walking down the street. You're not violating no law. You ain't doing anything. If you seen them doing some kind of deal or something like that, say that.
Maurice Chalmers Stokes prefers not to show his face out of fear of retaliation, but he is.
Now, that don't make no sense because y'all said his name, but y'all gonna say you don't want to show his face. You think no folks can't just pull him up in the computer database and know who he look like? Y'all would be Y'all do the most.
Very forthcoming about what happened to him the evening of October 1st, 2022.
I was not trying to be scared, but I was scared.
He says he was walking down Chelsea Avenue near University Street when unmarked cars started following him. Those inside had on ski masks.
They hopped out and bomb rushed me. I was like,
how you supposed to know if that's the police or just the jack boys or something like that? But that's how they operate, though. They'll stop you and then they'll pull up on you. I'm like, you really did something wrong.
let me check your backpack. Don't try to run.
But he ran out of fear.
Or he ended up taking off running. I had bounced off a gate. I bounced off the gate. I hit my head on the gate. I didn't know who they was. Y'all was in unmarked cars, like regular cars like us. So I'm not thinking, y'all know police officers out top anyway. I'm already scared for my life.
He would soon learn those chasing him were police. This affidavit says the officers were assigned to MPD's Scorpion Team 1. On that team, 4 officers who've been in the spotlight over the killing of Tyree Nichols. Detectives D. Haley, D. Mills, and T. Bean. The same officers now fired and charged in the Tyree Nichols case. And also P. Hemphill, who is still under investigation. Chalmers Stokes says he had to speak out when he realized what happened, especially when he realized Demetrius Haley was one of the officers who caught him.
When he grabbed me by my backpack, he pushed me to the gate again, cut my head up. Demetrius, when he flew me over, he acted like he was gonna punch me.
Chalmers Stokes.
Nah, I ain't gonna cap. Young man, if you started running from them folks, nah, if that's all they did, you got off easy. You got off easy. I know you got a little mark on your head, but I ain't gonna sit here and vouch for you like you was right in that situation. But right now, while this spotlight is on this dude, everybody and their mama gonna come up. So I'm gonna say 2 out of 3 on that one, y'all. I'm pretty sure some more people gonna come up, but this weather here, we're gonna say this weather here, he was right when he pushed up on the gate. You know, yeah, you might have suffered a little injury, but you know what I'm saying, that was your personal choice to run. And I think the Wabbit got caught with a gun, so the Wabbit, you just missed. But they just had to try to put a little icing on this case, and this is what's gonna happen.
Says he was never told why police were chasing him, and he complained about his head injury, but got no attention. His attorney, Andre Wharton, says the glare of the Tyree Nichols story is shining light on more cases that deserve attention.
The Constitution speaks of unreasonable searches and seizures. This is totally unreasonable. The same thing happened to Tyree Nichols that happened to Maurice just months before.
And he questions discrepancies, he says, are in the police report that officers filled out.
With the medical attention, Maurice refusing medical attention, that did not happen. I don't know why that was put in there.
Now they hope to talk to city officials about this case too.
We don't want this to happen to somebody else. And so he's...
Well, it's important that they don't flood these folks' office with a whole bunch of cases of dudes that ran. I mean, I don't think they ain't gonna look at this too serious. They ain't like, man, you just trying to pile on.
Salt Council, and we're looking at exploring all means, including the trial.
Even though old boy ran, but he didn't get caught with a gun also. And they didn't beat you up. He just pushed you on the gate. Every officer in the country would have pushed you on the gate. You come show that little boo-boo and up here crying about a little boo-boo on your head after you done ran for these things. Cut the cap.
Internal Affairs investigation.
April Thompson, WREG News Channel 3.
Now, Maurice Chalmers Stokes was charged with theft of property after a stolen gun was found in his backpack following that stop. Wharton is not representing him on that criminal charge and says the stop itself was still unwarranted and without cause.
Yeah, I bet he ain't representing him on that. That ain't got no money involved. But y'all see how they operate. You see how they operate? Ain't no money involved in that. Now all of a sudden he ain't representing that. Webber, you still got caught with a gun, a stolen gun. Now, like I said, we found out more about as far as this officer taking pictures and sending pictures around. Let me show y'all this video first that I have uploaded real quick before I show y'all the other articles that I have surrounding the situation that's kind of shocking. But this one YouTuber, he had kind of already put out there that there was that this man had sent pictures to his girlfriend, and I think I was reluctant to report on that because I wasn't sure if that was 100% true or not. But it's come to find out because of a report that information was true. Now, not that he sent it to an actual girlfriend, that he didn't take pictures of it, and he sent it out to at least 6 people. So let me pull that up, and I'll show y'all that first before I show y'all the news article that confirms what people were saying.
The Memphis Police Department has submitted documents to a state board for the 5 former officers, Emmett Martin, Desmond Mills Jr., Justice Smith, Demetrius Haley, and Tadarius Bean to be decertified. The 5 also face...
Hold on 1 second, y'all. Let me turn my music down just a little bit because this is a pre-recorded and it seems like it's hard on the head.
charges second-degree murder. In the documents for Demetrius Haley, the files note, on your personal cell phone, you took 2 photographs while standing in front of the obviously injured subject after he was handcuffed. In your Garrity statement, you admitted you shared the photo in a text message with 5 people, 1 civilian employee, 2 MPD officers, and 1 female acquaintance.
Now, that's very important because here you got a man sitting here beat to a pulp. And that's very important because sorry about that, y'all. But here you got a man beat to a pulp, and now you are taking pictures of him, sending them to civilians, sending them to other officers. You know, like what kind of sicko stuff y'all on? It says on the personal cell phone, you took 2 photographs while standing in front of obviously injured subject after he was handcuffed. In your Garrett statement, you admitted you shared the photo in a text with 5 people, 1 civilian employee, 2 MPD officers, 1 female acquaintance. So now, is that female acquaintance, would that happen to be the female that they're saying that it's his ex? They ain't put out that detail because y'all know that would be a bombshell. That would be a bombshell. But it kind of confirms the rumors that's been going around that the reason that he did that because of the ex-girlfriend, his ex-baby mama, that Tyre Nichols was possibly, you know, it probably wasn't even smashing. He might have just was having conversations with her. Might was just a job boyfriend. But this dude, this kind of ego, you know, no telling with him. So, and what they got under that is pretty much the code DR 604, information concerning police business. So, as just part of, you know, the shield, you ain't supposed to do that. You ain't supposed to take pictures and send it out and share police business with civilians. A member should not communicate information related to official police matters without prior approval or subpoena, except to an authorized person. A member shall not official department. I can't read that because my avatar is in front of it. But y'all get the point. Y'all get the point. This dude took pictures of this man beaten to death and sent it to 6 people. And he admitted this.
And one female acquaintance. The documents also state that Haley did the photo to a 6th person in violation of.
So he leaked it to a 6th person. Hold on, let me pull up the rest of that video. I had stopped there. I thought he was done, but there's one more piece of something that's relevant that I want to say.
Transmitted the photo to a 6th person in violation of police policy. The documents state Desmond Mills spoke with Nichols' mother the night of the incident, but he and the supervisor did not obtain contact information or refused to provide an accurate account of her son's encounter with police or his condition. They also state.
So this Wabbit called this man's mother, but he didn't tell his mother the truth. They got you on video. You and your boss. That's one thing for you not to tell the truth, but then your boss get up there and y'all tell this man's mother a whole nother story of what actually happened.
Also state that Smith and Haley did not turn their body cameras on, and Martin, Bean, and Mills took their body cameras off and placed them on nearby cars. All 5.
Now, if that don't scream doing something wrong, all y'all guys take off your body camera all of a sudden. Huh.
Five officers have been added to the county's list, a list kept by the district attorney of compromised officers. Newly released information says that Officer Demetrius Haley sent 6 photos to 6 different people that day, not only his ex. Okay, so here you have 5 other people that he sent those photos to, Tyree Nichols.
Now, he did a good job of breaking that down, and I saw his, so I definitely wanted to give that credit to. I seen that first, but then I ran into I don't know if it's the actual story that he went off of, but let me play where them confirming that there's new details about or what just came out about those pictures. But they also y'all, they also just fired. Well, they got 7 more officers under investigation. So right now, boy, it's a lot of heat under their feet. So this is going to tell a little bit about the new officers that are under investigation and more about those texts.
His chief legal officer telling us that 7 more Memphis police officers are now under administrative investigation for their roles in Nichols' death. Jennifer Sink tells us the officers will receive an internal statement of charges. Now, that's a document notifying them of policy that they are accused of violating, which is followed by a hearing and then a written decision. That could come sometime this week. These are not criminal charges. That would be up to the DA's office. But if the 7 officers...
So they're gonna 7 officers charges could come, but they're not criminal charges. So they're going to be the kind of charges where they could just move on to the next police department, I guess.
Officers are disciplined. It would make a total of 13 officers facing some type of disciplinary action related to Nichols' death. Well, we just got our hands on new documents that contain critical details on several officers who are already fired due to their role in Tyre Nichols' beating. The so-called decertification requests are from the Peace Officer Standards and Training Commission. Zaria Oates has been going through the documents for us, and Zaria, you showed some of them to me earlier. What's inside those documents is very disturbing.
Richard, that's absolutely right. I mean, a lot of stuff that we've seen on that video, but Chief.
So there's a decertification request on these officers. So it took to see them beat a man to death for you to decertify these officers, even after they've had several occasions of other incidents. That probably was caught on body cam, and that you probably looked at and gave them a pass.
C.J. Davis filed decertification requests for at least 5 former Memphis police officers on January 25th. Some of those requests include multiple former officers' incident summaries.
So this is C.J. Davis that's filing these decertification requests. C.J. Davis is that lady chief officer that we saw, and we found out that she was the same one that was in control of the Red Dot unit that was in Atlanta terrorizing the poor neighborhoods of Atlanta. She had cops like this doing the same thing. She probably brought some of them from Atlanta.
Lining up with the video evidence with statements like, quote, "let my gun go," when video evidence shows Tyre Nichols was not touching the former officer's gun.
And y'all heard he tried to commit that weaponry right there in front of it after he took his camera off and put it on the back of his car. And said, "Oh yeah, he tried to grab such and such gun." Man, we didn't see that man get nowhere near no gun. It was out the gate, y'all was all over that man. To cut the cap.
The decertification request also says multiple former officers failed to properly activate their body camera, with one officer placing his camera in the trunk and another officer shared a photo of Tyre Nichols while in police custody. Retired Shelby County.
Now there it is. There it is. You got officers putting their cameras in the trunk, and then you got other officers, the same officer that pulled the man over, that has motivation. Got them folks chasing this man, beating this man down because you tender big lady. You too tender. You too tender. I'm trying to watch my mouth, y'all. I'm trying to have a clean life.
County Sheriff's Captain Benny Cobb says while a decertification request can be placed for any officer at any time, these particular requests are not common until after a conviction.
It's not uncommon for road cops.
They usually don't do this until after a conviction, but because of all this pressure, now they decide to do this. Even though you have seen this multiple times with all kind of officers, they wait to see if they're gonna get convicted, because they'll let them keep on going if they can get them, if they can get by with it in the court of law.
The decertified cops has been bad actors to go from state to state and count. The other thing that goes along, this trial may take state to state cops.
Listen to what this dude's saying, because he's saying what I've been saying, and I didn't see this video until this morning. But he's got way more credibility than me. Now that's just what he got to say.
After a conviction.
It's not uncommon for road cops or decertified cops, cops has been bad actors to go from state to state and get a job, even if they have been either convicted or accused of a crime. Now, the other thing that goes along, this trial may take a year or 2 years to go to court. And then in the meantime, if these officers were not decertified, they could actually go somewhere else and be a police officer.
The decertification being
Exactly my point. These cops be doing this type of stuff, and while they waiting on trial, while they getting everything cleaned up for and everything, they just go to another police station, go to another state, they go to a little secret task force or whatever, while everything is under wraps until they beat it, and then they never lose their job, or they just shift to another unit. Keep the same mentality, and that's like a kid going unpunished. It's only gonna get worse.
On the state level means officers who are decertified could seek employment in another state. Now being hired onto another law enforcement team is not guaranteed, but retired Captain Benny Cobb says it's not unheard of. Richard.
When you're planning for game day, cater it with Wawa and use
Now, that was eye popping. The fact that this man is speaking on exactly what I've been saying over and over and over again. Now, I'm about to play this video to show you that they've already had reasons to know that these guys were incompetent. They've been getting their calls and all that stuff. We've seen 2 out of 3 people had very, very good reasons of filing complaints. And they wasn't looked into properly. And then when you end up having somebody lose their life behind the negligence, and when does it come to a time where it feels like the people that are arresting are more dangerous than the people they're arresting?
And why it escalated. Yesterday, the city of Memphis announced it will likely be weeks before the full video and audio of the incident is released to the public.
Justice for Tyree.
Tyree Nichols' parents were joined by the Reverend Al Sharpton yesterday in a plea for justice and answers.
But what were they enforcing? And an even better question.
Incidents involving use of force. In 2021, Haley grabbed incidents involving use of force. In 2020, Demetrius Haley and Desmond Mills Jr. both received written reprimands. Obtained by CBS News show that 2 of
Now, this is an article, of course, that was put out there earlier. So as y'all can see, this was still a fresh story when this came out. But of course, a lot of people still probably missed this part about these guys' background. They're trying to act like they just found this after all this went down. You knew about this when these guys have been hired. You knew about all the complaints. They knew about this man's background in as an inmate. As a correction officer. You knew about him falsifying reports.
suspensions. Memphis police files obtained by CBS News show that 2 of the officers, Demetrius Haley and Desmond Mills Jr., both received written reprimands for separate incidents involving use of force. In 2021, Haley grabbed a female suspect by the arm after she allegedly resisted an arrest. He failed to file the required paperwork afterwards. Mills Jr. received a similar admonishment after he took a woman to the ground as he arrested her back in 2019.
And that what they said about grabbing that woman's arm, that sounds like that young lady that we listened to from the beginning. So that collaborates with her complaint. So when people actually go and complain, yeah, y'all got the complaint and y'all just brush it on off. These dudes are even aggressive with women. You ought to know you ought to know what time it is at their home.
He also never filed paperwork. Another one of the officers, Emmett Martin III, was suspended for 3 days after a gun was found in the backseat of his patrol car after his shift ended. And Justin Smith was suspended for 2 days for hitting another vehicle while in an unmarked cruiser.
He's just a crash dummy. He arrested these dudes stashing their gun in the back of his car. He done arrested a dude and searched him with a gun on him, and he done left the gun in the back of his car. You big dummy. Wow. The incompetent. Incompetent. And they knew about these big dummies. They knew about it. That's all I'm gonna play off of that video. The rest of it is just, the usual political stuff. I got one more. It's just what they knew.
Dismantled and an internal investigation is underway. Multiple officers have been terminated or put on leave, and 5 now former officers are facing second-degree murder charges. WRIG investigator Jessica Gertler takes a closer look at that unit and the blue wall of silence that has gone up around it. And again, some of the video you're about to see is disturbing.
Memphis police proud.
Now, 2021, November the 12th. That's when this unit was started, y'all. That's when this unit was started. It's 2023, January 2023. So that unit been out for a year. A year and some change. About a year and a half almost. Well, it's a year and 2 months. So check this out. They say they ain't know nothing about what was going on, and now they all ashamed. The same white folks that were sitting there talking about, oh, this is despicable and all that. Let's see what they were thinking about it. Probably about 6 months ago.
Showcased its new unit November 2021, a unit that would be tackling violent crime in the city. They called it the Scorpion Team, an acronym for Street Crimes Operation to restore peace in our neighborhoods.
So just looking.
Hey, that didn't age well. Because if that's how you supposed to be restoring peace, by tracking down brothers and, you know what I'm saying, giving them, beating them down and stuff like that. Beating them to death. Yeah, I bet y'all do got to dismantle this unit now because, that defeats the purpose of your unit, the name of your unit.
Looking at the data allowed us to be able to say, hey, we need to do something now.
At the time, MPD brass told WRG the unit was comprised of 3 parts: crime suppression, auto theft, and gang activity. And
now, what part of that was that man driving and you claiming he was, driving reckless? Did you think he was a gang member? Did you think he had a stolen car?
June, they told the city council the unit was also working with station commanders to tackle reckless driving. They said the unit.
Okay, so that's if you're working with a station commander.
It wasn't subject to dispatch calls. Much of their work was routine policing, and the main purpose was visibility.
The Scorpion unit consists of 40 officers that operate in 4 10-man teams.
Mayor Jim Strickland applauded their work in last year's State of the City address.
Since its inception,
so he was loving them then.
In this past October through 3 days ago, the Scorpion unit has had a total of 566 arrests.
But Strickland didn't say how the unit managed to arrest so many people so quickly. No mention of how.
Exactly. They quick and say, oh yeah, he got all these arrests. How many of them people got their behind with?
The officers were picked to be in the unit, nor their training, chain of command, or directives. On the night of January 7th,
For the love of Lovelace, I'm gonna skip through that because I know she don't want to see that.
and squad be scrapped, stating units like this can morph into wolfpack misconduct and cause terror in minority communities.
The intent of the Scorpion unit has now been corrupted.
These officers went off the rail. They were beyond the scope.
Now you see how she went on these public networks. Oh yeah, these officers, they went off the rail. They went on beyond the scope. How? When you just had a unit in Atlanta that did the same thing. And Breonna Taylor, the old woman, 92 years this lady been going through life. She done went through damn near slavery, the all kind of segregation and all that. Just to have your police officers come in there and shoot her talking about she's selling dope. And then all you get to do is resign or retire. So you get a check. You know about a dude in your police force having child pornography with middle schoolers, and you tried to hide and cover up for him. Yeah, Judge Joe Brown put you out there. But I had already seen your record anyway. That's why you trying so hard. See, when it comes to these black dudes, she don't mind giving them up to the wolves. Hey, we gonna charge all these people. She ain't got no choice but to charge everybody, throw everybody under the bus. Cause she know her track record already says that she allows this type of, you know what I'm saying, foolery. So she's definitely buck dancing right now. She's definitely buck dancing right now.
Of what we've seen out of our Scorpion unit.
Chief Davis and Mayor Strickland agreed there needs to be an outside external review of MPD's specialized units and use of force policies. On Friday, the mayor announced the Department of Justice and the International Association of Chiefs of Police will do that.
I'm not ready to say that our Scorpion employees are doing bad things.
Reiterating the two.
Well, you need to be ready to say that, because if you ask the people, I ain't saying all of them, because you got 40 people, but you got 5 of them right here. They just the 5 that got caught. You got 500 arrests out of 40 people, in a year. That is a lot of people. But just from 2 people that we just seen, they're going about it in a very illegal way.
1,000 felony arrests they made and the 800 guns they got off the street.
I don't have regrets about creating units. Like I said, we just added more units to the department so that we could try to at least address some of the violent crime that we've seen.
A day after the interview with WRAG investigators, MPD sent out this statement. Chief Davis listened to the family of Tyree Nichols, community leaders, and the uninvolved officers, and it's in the best interest to permanently deactivate the Scorpion unit.
All you're going to do is go make another unit and call it the rodeo, where you just tie up some more meddling people. You ain't gonna do nothing but go make another unit. That's it. The same thing you did with the Red Dog. You came there and made Scorpion. You're gonna name another one Lion or Gotcha Rabbit, whatever it is. You ain't gonna stop. Just gonna shift on. You're gonna be in the next city. You're gonna be in Jacksonville, Tallahassee, Birmingham, Little Rock, Arkansas. We'll see her again in another 5 years.
Decision applauded by Shelby County District Attorney Steve Mulroy, whose office continues to investigate Nichols' death and those involved.
And I hope that it triggers really a broader conversation about the need for proper supervision and training of these units if we have to have them.
Chief Davis has said the Scorpion team received.
Man, there ain't enough training that you can give a person to just know that, hey, wrong is wrong. You don't just go snatch somebody out. You don't go taking no pictures of people that you done beat to death and sending it to everybody. You said it to 6 people, really? You was proud of that. You telling me y'all ain't see the sickness in this man's head? All this went unchecked.
Received regular training for high-risk traffic stops, de-escalation tactics, and fair and impartial policing. WREG asked MPD for an interview to find out more. We haven't heard back. We filed multiple requests under the Tennessee Records Act, like who was assigned to the unit, who was in charge, details of their training and directives, and complaints made against the unit and officers in it.
He physically pulled me out by my shoulder with a gun no more than a foot away from my head.
Cornell McKinney first told WREG investigators about his forceful encounter with the Scorpion unit just days before Nichols' traffic stop. He said they never explained why they pulled him over. He showed us the calls he made to Internal Affairs to complain, calls, he says, that went unanswered.
If history is any guide, I think it's going to continue.
The Memphis attorney Jake Brown has represented citizens who filed excessive force complaints against MPD. His mantra:
read the fine print and know the rules of the game.
Brown says the city must release the results from that external review into MPD because transparency builds trust. We asked the mayor.
Oh yeah, they gonna release them, but they gonna release them jokers at the last minute. They ain't gonna release them jokers for next year sometime. Because you know, most of the time they always talk about the investigation takes a year, and everything can be on camera.
Mayor's office if they can commit to doing so, but haven't heard back.
The specifics of that investigation are extremely important in terms of getting real transparency.
Transparency, he says, will help rebuild trust. Chief Davis admitted that night Scorpion officers stopped Nichols. Training and department policies. Now former officers are charged with second-degree murder, another fired, and at least one more under internal investigation. Jessica Gertler, WREG, News Channel 3.
As of now, the city hasn't said how long the external review into the unit will take, just that it will include all special units and the use of force policies. A controversial...
Like I say, ain't no telling how long it's gonna take. But they say it's gonna include all excessive force and all the units. So might come out some more details of how they got all those arrests. But that's what you deal with when you're dealing with the black community now, because of course we celebrating so much killing and all this stuff like that. They gotta have these crazy people just to police it. But what happens when the people that are policing you turn into the criminals? It's crazy. But I done held y'all up enough, man. I just wanted to bring y'all that story. I'm glad I got to check out the first one with y'all so I can make the adjustments before I upload that story. Y'all look for my videos. I appreciate everybody that pulled up the rock with me. This is Ears to the Street, week made 912. Shout out to everybody that pulled up on me. Salute Lovelace. Salute Monica Hollins, Annie Johnson, Chocolate Candy Lady, David Johnson, Dr. D, Justin N, Miss J, Spread the Word, Big Red Jew Martin, Oliver Green Apartment, salute the Ricardo's Calendar, Valentina, Jay Williams, Carl Belton, Chang Gang Records, Susan Stago. I appreciate all y'all. I'm gonna get up out of here. Y'all have a productive day, blessed day, and I'm out.
Run out of breath, point them out, make them live what they rap. Big cap niggas ain't living like that. Do the most, get too close, you a ghost. Dope is a dope, you get more than a dose. Give all that I got till it ain't nothing left. I don't need no help, I could do it myself. I'm really a chef, cook it right out of left. Run up a check till I run out of breath. Point them out, make them live what they rap. Big cap niggas ain't living like that. Do the most, get too close, you a ghost. Dope is a dope, you get more than a dose. Give all that I got till it ain't nothing left. I don't need no help, I could do it myself.
Niggas big cat like a best fiesta. Dope on the scale, you won't get no extra this way. Make your hoe do what the money say. Tell your old man he don't want it, babe. I just bought a new stick the other day. Cook dope on the stove or microwave. The neighbors don't like the J, they keep coming. Come on. I'ma keep serving the dumb and defy the ranks. Shit smell like fungus. No Q and not just the city. Keep fuck up my business, I'm just being honest. Keep dealers and killers a mummy. Wrap your ass up like a mummy. Stack that little white hood and dip on her. I feel like OJ, little homie. To the plug, the car, I'm alone. Send it to the Pope man. Freddie P flyer than most. Higher than most. Try me, didn't I see a ghost? 93 OG, it came from West Coast. Tied to your hoe, I just came from a throat. MOBB, OG gang, oh, let's go.
Go take a seat, get at the kitchen, I'm cooking, keep whipping it. Long as promoters keep booking, I'm running it. You get it all till I'm done with it. Give me that reaper, your block, you won't get it. Hell with the skill, got it booming.